guys, welcome back to Adventures in Aviators. It's Michelle and Jason, and today we are taking you on an amazing hike in Bali, Indonesia. Of course, Indonesia has tons of islands, tons of volcanoes, and if you've been to this specific island, you know how unique it is within the whole country. The Mount Batur hike was recommended to us from one of our friends, and it did not disappoint. It's in the northeast part of the island, north of Ubud, and we did it as a part of our trip up to Singaraja. Mount Batur is at least an hour's drive north of Ubud. And if you've driven in Bali, you know that you want to give yourself plenty of time and probably to have a driver driving. This is some of the most terrifying driving that I've ever seen. And we actually hired a driver for the day and used that for all of our travel all around the island. When you arrive, you'll see that this hike is on the cone of a volcano, which is inside the crater of a volcano. It's really cool. So you actually have to descend down into the large crater just to get to the base of the cone, which is what you will be hiking.
If you look online, you'll probably see a lot of tours that take you from Ubud to this hike. That's great, you can choose those. The vast majority of those are at 3 a.m. in the morning. They want you to leave super early so that you can go watch the sunrise. And it is beautiful. You can go, get up at 3 a.m., take the hour drive, hike in the dark up to the top, and watch the sunrise. You and 1,000 of your best friends. You will be packed up there if you go at this time. It's a cool experience, not gonna say that it's not. It is cool to go do something like that. However, it was suggested to us to go a little bit later and that you would not be around the crowds. As you know, we like to go hike where there are not a lot of tourists, and so going a little bit later sounded awesome. What we did was left around 6 o'clock in the morning from Ubud and arrived around 7. So when you arrive, if you do not take a tour, you have to pay to have a guide, and this guide does nothing. This guide is going to do nothing for you, except walk alongside of you. Probably won't speak English, is not going to tell you anything nifty. If anything, it's just to help their economy, and we ended up paying probably about $50 for this guide, which was super overpriced. So just know that you will have to have a guide. It's not negotiable. You don't need a guide because it's very well marked paths, it's very clear, but they will not allow you to go unless you pay for a guide. If you pay for a tour, then they will have all of that figured out for you. Probably will cost you a little less. So again, we decided to go a little bit later in the morning, and when you walk up the hill, it's pretty hilarious because you can look and you can see an ant line of people waving their way back down. And I don't know how many times on our way up, people were like, "Oh, you missed it! Oh, you missed it!" And we're like, "Okay, yeah, we missed the sunrise," until we got to the top, and we were the only ones up there, maybe a few other people. So while they were up there with 1,000 other people, we were there and no one was there. And it was a beautiful sunny day, beautiful clouds, and an entire rim of the volcano all to ourselves. It was incredible.
So when you get to the rim, you'll see that there's an opportunity to hike all the way around the rim, and it gains even more elevation. We chose to go clockwise and kind of end on the east side where everyone watches the sunrise at, and it was an amazing hike up on a very narrow path. And I'm not sure how the folks who went early did this, but you would not want to do this when it was dark out. So I'm guessing maybe they did this after the sunrise on their way back, but it was a gorgeous area, very steep walls on either side of you, so you want to be very careful, be very smart with your footing. It was definitely very breezy, and you also had plenty of steam vents and clouds like blowing through very quickly, and so it just all added to the experience, which was excellent. You'll see from some of our pictures when we did get to the area where everyone sits on benches to watch the sunrise, there was literally no one. It was just amazing to be up there and just take your time and then not have crowds and to get all the pictures that you want, which, as you know, is exactly the kind of stuff that we like to do. And we just had such a blast, and highly recommend this beautiful area with amazing views all around. It is very, very beautiful. As a part of this, you'll get amazing 360 views of the entire crater that you are in, and the valley that kind of creates, and then the rim around you with all kinds of different restaurants and resorts and just beautiful nature all around. So the views from this hike were especially beautiful and well worth the hike up.
On a clear day, you can even see some of the other islands, the big mountains off in the distance.
Taking our time, I would say this took us about 3 hours to complete. So it's not the longest of hikes, but it is very pretty, very steep. You definitely want your hiking essentials. Boots would have been a thing that we would have, if we were to do it again, that we would have taken boots for sure. If knees are hurting you, definitely trekking poles would be good as well. And of course, if you're going to go when it's dark out, make sure you have plenty of light so that you can see where you're going, because a false step here is going to be very dangerous.
So after our hike, it was around lunchtime, and so our driver, who, by the way, our driver was awesome and we had him all week long, so if you want a driver that is trustworthy, shoot us a note, we'll give you his contact information. So after our hike, we went to a restaurant, and this restaurant is on the edge of the crater, and it overlooks all of the area, so you can see just where you came from, which was really spectacular to get a completely different vantage point of something that you just accomplished. So if you have a chance, the name of the restaurant is the Amora Bali, and it's a restaurant that's a buffet style. You can get all the different types of Balinese food that you want, and you have a great overlook.
This just cements volcanoes as some of our favorite hikes in the world. The geography that you get and the topography is so varied and unique. We highly recommend this hike if you find yourself on Bali. This was an amazing place in an amazing country, an amazing island that you should definitely check out. Bali should be on everyone's list. Just the culture alone is amazing, but of course there are just majestic landscapes and amazing geographical features on these volcanic islands all throughout the country.
Okay, we'll see you next time. She looks so good. You're gonna have all these outtakes of you.
Yeah, my dance moves, my dance moves. Mount Batur is about, well, it's... Oh no! Oh no, we're good. Go, Vince, please. And go.
Around 7 o'clock from Abu. No.
We chose to go...